Okay, so the kingdoms of the fungi kingdom actually has got four main phyla. So the kingdom is fungi, and then there's four main phyla, so this is not nearly as bad as Protista. Your first one is called Chytridiomycota. Now, anything that ends in mycota means it's a fungus because mycology is the study of fungi. And these are very ancient, very primitive fungi. Next, we have Zygomycota. This is what Rhizopus stolonifer belongs to, and this is our black bread mold. Zygomycota is the smallest in number of fungus. Then we have Ascomycota, and Ascomycota is actually called the sac fungi because they produce their spores in sac. Those sacs, an individual sac is called an ascus. It's asci, S-A-S-C-I, if it's plural. And then we have our Basidiomycota, which is our club fungi. Club fungi are our mushrooms. This is the largest phyla in size and in number. And Basidiomycota, oddly enough, is going to be the one phyla that reproduces sexually and not asexually. Now, there is another phyla that I didn't put up here because they don't really consider it a phyla, and it's called Deuteromycota. And we know that deutero means second, and so this is sort of a second-class phyla for them. And it doesn't have, they're also called the imperfect fungus, and we'll talk about them a little bit in just a minute. All right, here is Chytridiomycota. These are the chytrids. This is what they call them. They are the smallest and the simplest group of fungi. And they are very, very primitive, very ancient. They are aquatic, and because they're aquatic, they have to have spores that have flagella, because in the water, the spores are going to have to be able to join, and that's going to take flagella, so they're going to have to swim. So they're primarily aquatic. And they're characterized by gametes and zoospores with a flagella. The chytrids have many characteristics of the fungus-like protist. So some of those characteristics are they have the same means or very similar means of obtaining their nutrients. Their cell walls are made up of the same kind of material. They have very filamentous bodies. The enzymes that they release are very, very similar, and their biological pathways are very similar. So the chytrids are very, very old, and they would be the precursor, the protist, the fungus-like protist would be a precursor for the chytrids. So they're very, very old, and they're very, very filamentous, really long, stringy looking. And the enzymes are almost always the same, and their biological pathways are as well. Okay, so what the chytrids do, some of them are parasitic, and here you can see that we have an amphibian, and the amphibian, everywhere that you see this dark area, that's the parasitic chytrid fungi, and they do inhabit the skin of a lot of amphibians, and because they're very hard to get rid of, they have overall been one of the problems with decreasing the numbers of amphibians. So chytrids can actually kill off the number of amphibians globally from this type of fungus. All right, our bread molds, this is Zygomycota. Now this is your Rhizopus. And these range from everything that we can see on spoiled foods. They also are used to ferment soy sauce. The species in this are referred to as the zygomycetes because they're Zygomycota. They're terrestrial, and they're found primarily in the soil, where the soil is really rich in organic matter. The hyphae, now this is something to remember, the hyphae of the zygomycetes is coanencitic, meaning that it does not have the crosswalls or the septa. So the nutrients and the contents of each cell are able to flow back and forth from one to the other. All right, there you go. Rhizopus stolonifer is a zygomycete. Sometimes, guys, you'll see these instead of zygomycota, you'll see zygomycetes. It's the same thing, and different books call it different names. But if you see zygomycetes, it's the same as zygomycota. So the hyphae, here you can see, this is on the strawberry, the hyphae that anchor the mold to the surface of the bread can actually penetrate, and those are called rhizoids. So Rhizopus rhizoids, and that's what's holding the fungus to the fruit, because it's actually penetrating the surface of the bread or penetrating the surface of the fruit. The digestive enzymes, they are produced in the rhizoids. Those would be, the type of hyphae, and the rhizoids are going to release these enzymes to break down the bread and release the nutrients. Other hyphae, called stolons, grow across the surface. So the rhizoid is going to go, there's a couple of parts is what they're saying. So the stolon is the part of the hyphae that just grows across the surface, but the actual part of the hyphae that penetrates the surface and goes in is called the rhizoid.